The craving for Asian food is only going to increase, but the pandemic has taken out a ton of mom and pops and a ton of restaurants. So I feel for the restaurants that have not made it, but I am hopeful for the restaurants that have made it through and that are going to open, because the demand is pent up. And I think there's only an upward trajectory for Southeast Asian food in general.
Right now, the issue is safety first. As to your point, and to Grace's point as well, we didn't just hit one virus, we hit a second virus, which has no vaccine. Have no fear. We're not here to take over the country. We're just like everyone else, trying to make a better life. Like my mom took us across the ocean to say, son, you deserve a better future with your brother. And that's all that is. What we have to share is a culture of 4,000 years for a continent that landed 400 years ago. So the cuisine that we can share with you are fabulous.
Every magazine has a cheap eats, and I think it's a very wrong labeling of food. It's just not fair for us restaurateurs and chefs and to be labeled as a cheap eats. The word cheap and cheap in itself is very, I guess, demeaning. It could be a demeaning word. It could be if someone's cheap, it's not very flattering. If a person is cheap or a woman is cheap, it's like, it's just not a great word.
I don't struggle with the terms. Some of our food is fast. Some of it is cheap. Technically, we are ethnic. It's one of those things, but I always use the term ethnic with quotes around it just because the way it's used here, it's a very othering term. It's to indicate that it's not white, right? To indicate the global doesn't quite cover, or international doesn't quite cover it, because that includes white cuisines. And so people use ethnic to be like, no, it's not that, to discriminate. And so that's where I struggle with the terms.
I think when you have this lack of entitlement, you just fucking push. You just push. And that's what I think. I think I pushed really hard because I have had those awkward conversations with people that said that you're Asian, how could you lead a kitchen? You don't look like you could lead a kitchen. You can't lead these men here.
So that kind of risk sharing is being done, in these pockets. And what I would really love to see is more people stepping up to help us farmers, not just in these sort of immediate monetary ways, but also when we're thinking about how we need this total change in our food systems that were already failing us and then got really broken apart with the pandemic. The structural changes that we need to make through our farm bills and who's getting subsidized and how we can access land. I really hope people can see, through these examples, what a difference it makes to have that kind of partnership and that risk sharing, and that we can do that as a society.